everyone, this is Evelyn, and I have a few reads for you today. My messages of the day, I actually did 2 yesterday and 1 today. So there's a lot of important messages as I'm losing my voice that came through that. So I was thinking of, pick one of them for you, 1, 2, and 3, but all 3 of them have a lot of important messages for everyone too. So if you want to watch all 3 of them, that's amazing. But you can do that if you'd like. So I have 1, 2, and 3 of the message of the day. And those reads include the Metatron deck, the Nature's Whispers, and the Shaman Dreams decks. All 3 of them are dealt the same way, just in the way, organically, the way they came out. And I'll show you the pictures as we go. And then I have the 7 deck read on the table. So if the 3 messages of the day go too long, I might actually do a separate video for the big read on the table. We're going to roll the die as well and oracle cards as I always do. But let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths first. Take a deep breath. Getting a little bit of darkness on the right, the masculine energies. Go ahead and take another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Let's do a lot of white purification light around the world. Take a deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to everybody. I hope you're having an amazing day. It's a beautiful sunny day out here today. And thank you so much for joining me. All right, so I have a lot to get into. And plus, right before I finished my read today, and I went to take a shower, my son was here visiting, and right when he left, there was a bird that hit the window. And actually, when I went out to heal him, as soon as I started to talk to him, he just passed away right away. So there's that energy coming in. It's the ending of something big. A big cycle is ending. So there's definitely a message there. And there's some other messages that will so much messages that actually came up in the 3 reads today. We're going to roll the die too. I'm going to show you the first read. Let's see if I have my... Okay, so here's the first one. It was done yesterday. And again, the 3 decks, Metatron, this is the underlying energy for all 3 decks. And then the cards that came out organically for the read here. And then the pile that I had to count, which has a number meaning for it. And then here's Nature's Whispers. And then the Shaman Dreams, again with the pile I had to count at the end. There were a lot of cards that came out in this read. There's not as many in the other reads. But again, the pile here as well at the end. I'm going to give it a little close up here so you can get the details on the Nature's Whispers cards, especially because there's a lot of detail there. Okay, and then the Shaman Dreams as well. Okay. So that's this is read number 1. So just get back to where I'm supposed to be. How can I put that? There were some energies around Virginia is for lovers as well. Let's see. Yeah, all right, so let me just get to this first one here. So this is I just want to make sure I have this correct one. So this was done, that was last night. So today is the 7th. And so the last read I did was today, this morning, which I just finished before my video here. And then yesterday I did 2. So I did one was at, here it is. One was at 107 to 111. This is this first one. And then the other one was done last night, like from 6 to 9 in there. And then the third one was done from this morning. So you can pick one that's going to be most significant for you. But remember, like I said, all 3 of them have very significant messages for everybody. So this first read, and being that today's the 7, that's the Chariot. And yesterday was the 6 of the Lovers with the 20 of the Judgment card, the wake-up call for the Lovers, and then today is the 21 of the World and completion, along with the 7 of the Chariot. Okay, so let's roll the die first. This is for August 7th, 2022, and we have Lionsgate tomorrow. We're in the Lionsgate energies already. The portal is much bigger. I believe it lasts till about the mid-month of August, but the peak is supposed to be tomorrow. It's 3:08 on the clock right now, the 3 of the abundance of the 8th, which is tomorrow. For the Twin Flames, for today, August 7th to the 8th, for Lionsgate, what is the energy coming up for us? All right, we have the 11 of alignment, truth and balance, which is also justice and Libra energies here. And then we also have the Scorpio energy here. And Scorpio's in the South Node, so we're letting go of Scorpio traits that are no longer serving us. And then we have Jupiter here too, with expansion and Sagittarius. So we have fixed, Sagittarius is mutable, and then Libra is cardinal. So we have a good balance in that respect. So Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, so all in a row, all of the fall energies just came up, and there was a lot about the fall messages coming up. So the one from 107 to 111 that I cut and dealt yesterday in the afternoon, the underlying energy was the cosmos, the number 20, along with keeping your dreams alive, number 25, which is the Knight of Wands. And then the third deck, the underlying energy, was the 11 of justice and the deep quiet. The Council of 12 was coming up, and I think it came up in more than one read, actually. The Council of 12, reflecting the Knight of Wands, to inspire aligning in deep meditation. Indigo alignment with Lord Sirius coming up. The 12 of Akashic Records and the 21 of Indigo, there's their 12-21 reference, of wisdom, and the indigo. The indigos around the world, and reviewing, going within meditation with the 26 of the Page of Wands, which is that very innocent, like kind of, it's not a baby yet, it's like, still in the womb. That Page of Wands life bulb womb energy. The Magdalena phased array of self-love. I was just getting self-exploration and discovery as well. And the 27 of the Ace of Wands, Metatron Rainbow Bridge. Going to your birthplace, perhaps, in the cosmos, in a wake-up call to what mirrors you above. So again, perhaps you're going to be getting some really great connections in the Sirius portal as far as your original, your origins in the cosmos. So yeah, check that out. The 25 of the Knight of Wands is powering up the heart. The 2 of the High Priestess is the time out in the purple moon. And maybe that purple moon energy is coming up to look up at night, because you might want to look for the meteorite showers or the meteor showers, but also look up to see what else you might see. The 43 of coming together for healing. And pausing to receive that healing, not only healing others, but receiving it for yourself. Remember the hovering magnet over your head, you could try that. There's lots of different ways to do your own healing, but that's one way of just seeing that magnet pulling all the stuff out of your aura layer, your auric layers that don't serve you, and then healing hands coming in to fill that space with beautiful divine love and diamond crystalline light and healing. The energy of the 4 of letting go, time for release, which is also the Emperor. Release into fall. And instead of leaving, it's coming up as leafing. And a reference to that came up in reads this week. Mother Earth with the number 18 is grounding and support. The ice cube of the need to cool things down. The hexa and the cubits. So the 6-sided things, or the 6-sided cube, we're coming up as the cubits and cubits, as the C cubits, which is like the 11 cubits of the chambers in the pyramid of the Queen's chambers, and then the cubits with the Q, which is the energy of the quantum energy, and elevating. It's like transcending energy, kind of to the nth degree, where the 2 are elevated. The cooling down of the Queen's chambers, and 2 elevated with the Q. So the Q and the 17 are coming back here as well. And remember, the Q is the masculine and the feminine. It's the sword and the stone, right? That's the sperm going into the egg. The Q of the 17 bits. And I was just getting from Bridesmaids bits and pieces, or however he uses that expression. The Q is coming up as the sword and the stone, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The QU of the Queen in the EE of the energetic exchange, and the last letter, capital N, of the Christ unity consciousness. The meadow and the pasture coming up here, as well as the 1 equal and congruent to the L and the Lu. So here the Elohim and the Lu of Lucifer coming in, but just referencing the light and the dark in all of us. And it's coming up as El, Lu, us. So the E of 1 equal and congruent to, the capital E is the 1, and then 3 lines across is equal and congruent to the El, Lu connection that is us. The meadow with this word LLUUS came up, and it actually is a word. It was actually a residual of a word that I wanted to take out of the definition, but it actually came up to be a real word. So LLUUS is LLUIR as the meaning, which means to shine, emit light, be a star, to show and display. So the double L's, double U's, and the S's, which is the 2 right angles, the 2 U's, which is also coming up as the 2 Lu's, or the 2 shadow sides of each of us. It's coming up as the twins' shadow side. And then the UEE of the Queen is meadow without light, in need of the Q of that quantum energy and the capital N of the Christ unity consciousness at the beginning and the end of Queen. Mother Earth is also the heart. Earth is the same letters as heart. And also the word THAER was coming up, which translates to the P, that's not a P, that has a line up above the P and below, like a B and a P together, and then the AE ash, where they're together, and then the R. That's the word THAER. So you can look that up in Wiktionary, which is the dictionary I always use because it has all languages in it. It also means they, them, she, their, those, and then par was coming up as well in that place. But that same P, I don't know what it's called, the P, that's the B and the P together. And then the letters of Proto-Norse were coming up as significant because there was an F and a flag that looked just like one of the cards, that I was always looking for that kind of symbology, and it was coming up as Proto-Norse. To go comes up too as well here. To run, to go in that place, she, they, them, those there. Mother Earth and Daughter Moon, as the 31 of the 5 of Wands and chaos of the Sun comes in to be collected, while the Father Sirius busy at work. The divine feminine's taking in the light to alchemize with the shadow, to make something new, balanced and useful. She cools the fire of the sun, and I was just getting the song, you light the fire, I forget what the words are. While you put the flowers in the Will you place the flowers in the vase you bought today? Well, anyway, you know which song I'm talking about. That's coming up here, and Spirit's connecting with me. That energy of cooling the fire of the sun, you know, that calmness of being by the fireplace as opposed to the aggression of fire. The Father calm while the Son must still learn. And here the ear is coming up inside learn, because ear is in heart and earth. And it's coming up again here in learn. Heart and learn, where HT around the heart and ear is the height of the ear. And then learn is LN around ear, which is LN is the line of the ear, the natural logarithm to the base of E. LN E equals 1. And E equals transcendental number valued at 2.7182818282459, which is coming up as the 27 of the Ace of Wands, that third flame, the fire that we just talked about, that cool burn, along with the 18 of the moon, the 28 of the twins, the 18 of the moon, the 28 of the twins, so the two moons, two twins, and that purple moon, which is 0 point, and then 459 came up. The electron, identity element, and elementary charge, my dear Watson. The height and line, or vertical and horizontal, or heart and learn, to hear, the lowercase e. The ID, the electron, the elementary, my dear Watson. So there's that energy of electric as well. But also the watts and the sun. The 152 is the magician and the Queen of Swords. The High Priestess and the Chariot come up here with the moon. Like I said, in the sequence of the numbers is the Ace of Wands, the moon, twin flame, and then the last three numbers are 459, which is the way 45 is written, 45/9, which is the purge. So it's referencing the magician and the Queen of Swords, the twin flames, both in the purge. The dark night of the soul is the 4D bridge, the purgatory. So at 153, which is the magician and the Knight of Swords, the 27 comes up again in the card here this time, the heart home of compassion, where remember 27 reflects 72, and 72 is the Four of Pentacles, which is being very moderate in the way that you live, being very humble. The Ace of Wands inspired third flame, and the Nine of the Hermit running with the big bird, the Chariots of Fire, the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Swords, for action where the land meets the sea, the shadow burns. And then the word tear is also coming up with ear in it. So remember that, because it's the cross plus the ear. 1 to 1 is the 42 of the Two of Cups, going with the flow in the canoe on the salt river, the whispering bench that you are, a salt water with salt water in your vessels. The salty emotion to meet with the fresh. And this is the Mary Magdalene baptism in the south of France, where the salt water meets the freshwater stream is where she does her baptisms. The Mary Magdalene baptism at the Y in the road, or the gamma in the road, the gamma ray path, and salt. Can you say light or imperial ton, which equals 2240 pounds? The 22 of the Fool's Journey, and the 40 of the Page of Cups, of innocence and purity of love. The weight of the world for the human on the Fool's Journey, with the Page of Cups is innocent heart. The horizontal and vertical lines coming up here as the plus sign, not the cross. The plus sign, here's the stars, right? Because the plus sign is the star. You just add the diamond with the curved lines in the middle, makes the star if you have the plus sign. The plus sign with a diamond in the middle, where we have the height, where HT is around the ear of heart, LN, which is around the ear of learn, and then LT is coming up as the light as well. It's coming up as the height, the line, which is curved, right? The line is always arced because no line is actually straight. And the light, the heart in it. The trajectory with the arc of light that bends. The path of love that's never straight or direct. always a curveball, a whispering bench, in order to hear clearly the message sent of the universe, the one verse. And there's a reference to sound and music as well there with the verse. The 46 of the Six of Cups is the inner children loving each other as well as the outer children. And here is the energy of the upside down tear. The key is the upside down tear and is the E and the ear again, the tear. So the upside down tear is the key, and that is the upside down tear, which is T plus ear. The lowercase e and the ear again, the lowercase e that starts your heart again. And the tear is the star-crossed lovers listening to each other, learning, and ear ring. Hearing, ear ring, the ringing in your ears as well, each other. So it's saying when you get ear ringing, it's your twin trying to tune into you. At 204, which came up in the numerology book of how the number 2 life lesson number gets along with the number 4 life lesson number, which I read to you. And that's in my numerology book, The Divine Triangle. So 2 and 4, that was pages 80 and 81 if you have it. The 10 cards came up for this deck with High Vibe Destiny, and at the bottom of it all was the 50 of signs and happy family or happy ending or emotional fulfillment here. And at the top of it all was the 5 of communication, but it was coming up as the calm, that fiery calm. The popping of the cork to let the air out with a mouthpiece to use for easy opening and closing like a wine bottle. Use it while you can because it's a human thing to do, right? Because when you get into those really high vibrational existences, there is no verbal communication, it's all telepathic. Like the old bottle of wine, it has aged long enough. It's time for the message to come out. Madonna Blue, number 29, the 3 of Wands, of being present in the moment with her gifts. Sirius Indigo, present with gifts. And Little Indigo, who sees the star. The mother connects with and holds space for them. The mother and the dragon, 19 of the sun. The sun watching them to see how she cools things down. And then I've been getting this song for at least for the past 3 or 4 days. Like I was literally sitting at the sink doing my dishes the other morning singing it. But I'm going down. So that was coming over and over again. I'm going down because you're not around. So it's coming up in a good way and Spirit's connecting with me. So she breathes in the dragon's breath, the ether to her plasma. Please, Ma, Mother, may I? She doesn't need to say a word, and he knows. The 22 of the Fool's Journey and Archangel Sandalphon here. The Sandal Phone, the Saint Dolphin, the Lyran Muse, the 22 at the 5D station of the Fool's Journey of all space-time direction, the trajectory, the platform in which to leap any place. Mother tames the beast to serenade the Knight of Swords in the collapsing of the family tree. I'm going down, I'm going down, 'cause you're not around. So it keeps going. Locked at the root, the Knight of Swords with the Knight of Wands. I'm sorry, it's the Knight of Swords with the King of Swords. That energy of white and purity and innocence, the diamond light and angel wings, as the waves come in strong to that pillar, that vertical pillar, the mountain, where it lights up, the electromagnetic of the waves creating the electric and the magnet of the mountain, the twin flames quantum energy, the double diamond, two-eyed needle of the Q, the quantum energy, the masculine and the feminine, the 44 of the 3D lap dance, to learn how to receive love and light up as the Knight of Cups from the Emerald Order of Heart Healing, right? So those of you who are healers, and the twin flames, right? It's the rod and staff family unions. Whether you're raising children or you're doing healings, it's very much about that energy. The green energy is physical healing. The Knight of Cups, Emerald Order of Heart Healing, and the 28 of the twin flames of karma and knots untied, the double diamonds in the sky, The sky is the S of Sophia and the KY of the lubrication, but it's the K of the energy and the Y of the 0 point field, that 0 point energy, and the gamma energy at 0 point. The gamma with signs from Spirit with Loves at 222. The love train is what I'm getting here. Robin Redbreast always around. Mother, son, birds, and message. At 222, the salty tear turned upside down. I'm going down, 'cause you're not around. My whole world upside down. So yes, if down. It's coming up as up, if down, up, yes, down. If, IFF, and only if. Up is the chakra system reflecting down. I'm going down. So it's like continuing in the background. The underlying energy of the Knight of Cups and the Ice Queen to cool things off. Remember, the Queen is the UAE with the Q and the N around it. The Q of the quantum, masculine and feminine, and the N of the Christ consciousness. But the Queen adds up to 35 with the numbers of the letters, and the numbers of the meanings of each letter from the numerology book add up to 63. The Wounded Warrior and the Suffering and Silence of the Queen. The Wounded Warrior, a clear endeavor, and also 48 was coming up here of walking away within, of hope and happiness, of the moon and the sunshine. The Wounded Warrior sister or Suffering and Silence, a clear, and there's the ear in clear again, endeavor to cool things down. She knows what she's doing. As the little fairy girl pauses to touch the trunk of the tree, the Four of the Emperor in the twin flame preparations around the earth, in the ethers, for the beautiful harvest, in the energetic exchange of the little girl who's vulnerable and floating on that leaf. So again, referencing leafing, the little fairy girl floating on a leaf down the Borealis River, of plasma and pink moon, or is that a pink sun, and 10 candles of number 1, the daughter and son on destined path, the spring coming in the southern hemisphere after a long journey in the energetic exchange, the pink baby girl and the blue baby boy blows her kisses from afar. The 25 of the Knight of Wands to remind her to keep her dreams alive as she is waiting for him. So the Knight of Wands is that kickstart of fire. It's very good in the Knight of Wands in this deck, the Syrian Starseed deck, because it's like the one with the cool burn. And that's exactly the energy they're bringing up here. The Knight of Wands is lighting a fire under her butt to remind her to keep her dreams going while she's waiting for him. The 233 of the High Priestess and the 33 of the Christ Unity Consciousness and the Christ Vibration of that 40 bridge. The one, or the first card here is the 37 of the King of Cups, and the ideal course of action. As the village comes to the mountain, instead of the mountain coming to Muhammad, the village is coming to the mountain. And here the Oaxaca lioness is coming up. So again, the Mexican, the iguana woman with the iguana on her head is from Oaxaca, from southern Mexico. So this is the connection between North America and South America. She's coming up as the lioness. The Bella with tricks, or Bellatrix, to the Beetlejuice. The 42 of the Two of Cups. Let lover be your beacon. Let love be your beacon is supposed to be what it says, but here I guess it's coming up as the Two of Cups. Let lover be your beacon. And blush orange, or orangutan, the forest or veggie man. Tarzan coming up as the knight. The two knights here, the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups, connect to raise to a higher love in the family tree of assurance, as assurance was being broken down into as Surah, ants, which Surah comes up as a chapter of the Quran, and then wine or sap of coconut palm or palmyra. Fish, and again the bridge near me is the Palmyra Bridge actually, and yeah, the Palmyra Bridge. So fish comes up there as well as to tease. The image, the picture, the photograph, the form, the appearance, which has ear in it again, and the swooping down to grab something. The calf of the leg was coming up. So if someone's having any issues, look at their calves. I was getting that to tell you. So if that just helps one person, it's important. The sword, the chapter to sulk and to count, as swooping down, appearing to grab the fish. And here's this reference to the eagle and the eagle type of gull, as in seagull, because the eagle swoops down and picks things up off the top of the surface, but the gulls actually dive down into the water. The swooping down appear to grab fish, the eagle to tease the ants, or their antsy, at 244, the high priestess, and the 44 of the Four of Cups, which is grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love. Or it can be boredom and apathy, but for these purposes, it's more about learning about love. The 24 of the Queen of Wands and the Omega, being at your best always, which the Omega is also referencing the horseshoe, and that can be referencing, for me, it's referencing Messier 83 or M83 from Hydra. So the Queen of Wands and the horseshoe, be at your best always, as the mermaid, who's the maid of the sea, as she rides the seahorse, wild and free, both comfortable in emotions here under the water, as the 19 of the sun comes in to shift your energy, right? Once you're deeply immersed in the water of emotions, then it's time to dance back to the other side again. Shift your energy, flying Noah's Ark, no ahs about it, to 45 of the purging for empowerment, powering up the mountain, the 17 of the star, and the Q, right, because the 17 is the Q, and infinite blessings, the sprinkling of frost across the land, the perfect flakes, as you guys have all been making magic wishes that are making the water perfect, the star magic and sudden event, blowing up the inner truths of star origins and supernovas. Which is funny because I was saying I had one. My parents had a nova growing up. The little ones at the base of the tree with sudden dreams coming true, with synchronicities and heaven in their eyes. The children's laughter on their avatars and avatars is coming up. As my sweet little niece, she was born prematurely in July 17th, so she's still struggling. So if you want to send love to her, please do. Little avatars. So Tars was coming up as the shield or the calf of the bird. So again, there's that lower leg energy. Or the insect, to say, articulate, pronounce, companion, mate, partner, associate. At 301, which is actually when I started your video today, which is the 3 of the Empress and the 1 of the Magician. And it was just 3:33 on the clock here. And it's 3:34 now. So going from that energy of the 333, of the 369, going into the 33 of the Christ vibration of unity consciousness, and the 34 of the energetic exchange of hours of love. Then the tear came up again here. The word TAR, with a little circle over the A, tar, it means a tear, a drop, or sip. So again, the tear is coming up. The shield of the avatar, Ava's shield. The mate, the teardrop, or calf, lower leg, and articulates now. So at 301, the journey of trusting your own understanding, your vision, your filter. And there's Elle and Lou come up again, which is really interesting too, because one of my brothers, my niece's children, one of them is Ella and the other one is Lucas, which are Elle and Lou. So there's that reference there too. But Elle and Lou coming up as Elohim and Lucas, right? The light and the shadow of all of us. The journey of trusting your own understanding and vision, your filter. And the 18 of the vase, of new experiences. So then I Light the Fire, that song was coming up with the vase while you put the flowers in the vase that you picked yesterday. The vase of new experiences and possibilities on the round table. The Green Maiden, the healer, on the horse with butterfly of transformation in the Garden of Ease den. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior, culmination of a vision. The 49 of the Getting Your Wish by heightening your vitality. And have you been drinking enough water? The 23 of the King of Wands, which I'm going to go ahead and take a sip now, actually, now that I said that. Sorry for reaching across you there. There's some birds talking to us from outside. Okay, so the 23 of the King of Wands comes up, that you are worth it, King of Wands, which is also the mastering of your passions, your vision of the 7 candles and the ship coming in. And she could be the one I can't forget. So Notting Hill's coming up there too. She's sitting under the tree with transport or a boat down there. So this is his vision. He sees her and he sees a boat down there. And it was really funny too, as I'm getting this image, I'm sitting here looking out the window, and my daughter's puppy Teddy was at the window, and it was just like us sitting here watching the energy down below on the street. Us both watching for the ship to come in, as he was waiting for my daughter to come home. The 50 of the 10 of Cups, of emotional fulfillment. The tree, a potential gateway. Perhaps your plants around your house are going to start communicating to you when they need water. Like because it's been so dry out, your trees may be asking you for water. So if you're getting those kind of hits and you don't know why, that's why they're asking you for water. Again, being connected to the northern lights as well. There may be some underground connections that we're not aware of. There's some portals that are connected to the twin flames and where they reside. At 321, the underlying energy, which is 321, is jump. 321 jump. And my mother always used to call my brother Jimmy Jump. So that's coming up. The 4 of the Emperor and the cat ER pillar. So this can be going to the ER for a CAT scan, but it's referencing the urgent need to pillar, or an opportunity for the whispering bench, right? Because that could be considered the horizontal and then the vertical pillar coming together. The 43 of the 3 of Cups and coming together in the overflow, as I did just actually water my tree out front after I'd read that. I gave a lot of tree to the water, a lot of water to the tree. Maybe that went both ways. The Emperor says thank you as the 2 comes up of the Beloved with the heart on fire, with radical acceptance of the 4 and the 2, the Emperor and the High Priestess, the stability and the Divine Feminine, and coming together. The 11 of alignment in deep quiet of meditation and stillness, and 211 was coming up here, which has to do with urgent community services coming together. The cat or the caterer, Kate or Cato, an opportunity over Rad, R-A-D, of the inner child, or Ra and the 2 of California or Canada. The 4 and the 2, the Emperor and the High Priestess, align in the deep quiet. The 37 of the King of Cups and the Magician's Sword, the King of Cups with confidence, and the Queen of Wands, 24, coming up as the galactic mushroom, right? The room to perhaps have some cuddling going on. And I did that with my son. He was only home for 2 days, so I got to cuddle a little bit before he left. So peeling back the layers, aligning the King of Cups with the Queen of Wands, with the wounded warrior who lost their way, discerning and getting back to their integrity. And something that's been coming up the past couple of days too is that, family reunion, like family being brought together for the twins. The 51 of the King of Swords on the bridge, meditating with star in the sky, stars and path of ours in the Sophia energy of the 0 point field, and was coming up as sits, S-I-T-S, star, it was what was star in the sky, so it's S-I-T-S, star in the stars in the sky, sits. And the 18 of the purple moon coming up there. The eyes of the eagle. The oracle rising above the fray with an open eye, as you can imagine an eagle perched on his nest on the mountain. The 44 of the 3D and the perfect storm of grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love. The eagle together with the raven peacock, or the raven peacock on the eagle's perch, as the King of Swords in the moon is illuminating how to receive love with an open heart. the falling angel of the 19 in the sun is falling asleep. The eagles dive. The 41 of the Ace of Cups of self-love, spiritual love, and new love, while the moon maiden with new beginnings is holding up the moon. She's underwater, so when she's holding up the moon, it's a lot easier than Atlas because she's underwater. She's got that gravity support. The daughters, the moon's coming up as the daughter, as well as the center of the earth, right, the connection to the moon. The daughter with love, Hercules, is her harvest underwater. That's easy to do. The 34 of the energetic exchange of the king of the hill, who has the lay of the land and crop circles. The sun diving deep, and the daughter is climbing the hill. So there's that switch of positions of the masculine and the feminine. The sun is diving deep, the daughter is climbing the king of the hill. And hooray! And then Miss Mary Mac was coming up again. So that's a reminder for you, a quick way to correct your energy lines, right? Because you're crossing your arms when you do Miss Mary Mac, is a quick way to rebalance your masculine and feminine energies. And again, the eagle is coming up as falling to rise again. The 49 of getting your wish and self-satisfaction and skywriting the fates. And the symbols of the hourglass on its side becoming the infinity, the K of energy, and then the M and F of the masculine and feminine, as well as the Monday through Friday. But that F right there, the way it's written with this slanted lines, is coming up as that Norse writing that I told you about. And then the flags, like the flags at the end of a race, but just facing each other. Getting wish with high vibe deep diver into a task. The 53 of the Knight of Swords, where the stranger is curious about what's down there under the water there, that the feminine's been swimming in all this time. As the 39 of the Knight of Cups is treating themselves to a detox, repairing the body, mind, and spirit. And again, Janet's coming up, as well as Vani and Leo and Libra. And then there were 16 cards, which is that sudden event of the Tower. And at the bottom of it all is the 27 of the Heart Home. At the top of it all is the 56 of the Two of Swords and the Wall, of being inside the tree looking out with just a little hole like a prisoner. The audience looking at the stage, knowing of the 38, the Queen of Cups, with the many layers of her masks, or quote-unquote the players, like in a play. The actors on a stage. The 28 of the Twin Flames and the Hollow Bone, in humbling themselves to let others shine. At 343, the Empress and the 43 of the Three of Cups. So it's not about lowering your vibration, but also not always needing the limelight, right? That's not the purpose of the twins, right? So it's very much given that energy of the humbleness of allowing others to shine, right? Helping others to help themselves so that they can shine their own lights. The 343 of the Empress and coming together, and Archangel Michael was coming up here with the blue platinum shield. The Moose of the Root Girl. And disowning themselves. So the moose was coming up in association with the root girl, the little girl, who disowned themselves. The 46 of the inner children and outer children, loving each other. And disowning herself means she disowned her masculine side. The 32 of the journey of the jeweled web of connectivity. And the 31 of the Five of Wands of chaos in the hand, right? The light of the sun that we're supposed to mold into something useful, where the universe is your partner, with the 61 of taking that risk. The whale's song of being very comfortable in that very deep blue water of the whale, in the portal, like the arcs at the bottom of the sea, resonating in the deep blue portal. The mushroom, or light. Wild dancing with power and crown games and right use of power. The removal of the crown. The 54 of the Page of Swords, and the crossing into initiation. The sunroom. I know I didn't write room, but the sunroom on the water. Well, it is room. Okay. So there's the sunroom on the water. So, you know, like when you go on vacation to Bali or something, they have those rooms right on the water. But it's also coming up as the room under the sea, right? So now they have rooms that you can stay in under the water as well. Manifesting and initiating to the Page of Wands 26, gathering around the power of community. And the mush rooms, right, where you can have lots of mushy huggies and kisses. With fairies and butterflies, and the 14 of the temperance of the drifter, who's patient and balanced, experiencing life as it comes, kind of like Kung Fu and Jesus, right? The 22 of the fool's embrace in the child's pose, the fall. Remember how I said we start as humans as the child, skinned in the child's pose, because of the wounding we already had from being animals and stones and elements and all of that. The fool's embrace in the child's pose is fall, transmuting pain. The yellow-orange moon, or Ganymede, which is the moon of Jupiter, perhaps, where the mothership is stationed, and Betelgeuse coming up here with the 12 of wisdom of hanging out the dragon's hoard, protecting the future with inner war and the wailing tree of the 59 and the war within, reconciliations, and the 57 of, as well as irreconcilable differences for some people who are ending relationships. But reconciliations are coming up here with the 57 of separation and the unmarked trail, the T-rail of revelation through the maze and the pressure of the heartbreak and separation. The 27 of the Ace of Wands, again, inspired by the heart home of compassion. And also for prior to Valentine's Day, there's a significant window right there of 2/7 to 11, which leads to Valentine's. And then they were just also bringing up that Virginia is for lovers. And actually, the Virginia is where my niece lives with the kids, Lucas and Elle, so Lou and Elle, the dark and the light. So Virginia is for lovers. So they're confirming that, of the light and the dark. And then the bird, the 3 cards from the 3 decks on top were coming up as 2 50s, which is the 10 of Cups, complete emotional fulfillment. And the third one was the 27 of the Ace of Wands, the bird, the tree, and the home. It's the magic tree and the heart home. So, so that was the first one. Okay, now we're going to look at the second one. This is from last night. And this is the second one, same arrangement. The left column is the underlying energy. The cards came out the way they came out organically, and then the pile at the end that I had to count for each one. The Metatron deck, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. Okay? So for this one, oh, that was interesting. I forgot that we talked about it yesterday. Was that from this morning? Wait, I missed one. That one starts with 22. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. So this one was done last night at 6:33. The underlying, and again, hope and happiness was coming up again. And the 8, the capital H and capital H, the H is the 2 4s, like 2 chairs stacked on each other, which is the 44. H and H, which 44/8 is the way it's written, of hope and happiness. The underlying energy with Saint Dolphin, or Sandalphon, the 22 of the Fool's Journey, that Lyran energy of that light heart and very creative energy, a very sweet, soft, masculine energy. The 32 of the Journey of Understanding, and the 60 of the 6 of Swords and the Watchers, which has to do with finding peace. The 6 of the Aqua Rose Gold Heart in the underlying energy of love, and then the 12 of Wisdom, so there's the love and wisdom, and the 7 of the Water, and the Dolphin, I matter. So icosahedron's coming up. Icosa means I matter. Saint Dolphin is with you now as the 22, the Mother, Father, and the Daughter and the Son, the 17 of the Stars of infinite blessings, and the 44 of seeking beauty, with 10 to 11 candles, and Buck wanting attention. Fairy dust across the world, frost of wishes to celebrate your differences. The mother unicorn and the daughter dolphin. The three of the empress, the earth, the abundance of borderline. The journey to trust your own understanding. And the atlas with the empress's journeying on. With the curious stranger, I was just getting Curious George, the curious stranger, Knight of Swords, and King of Cups 37, with the magician's sword, with confidence in her magic, and the 54 of the Page of Swords, the crossing into initiation of the watchers who are at peace with one-on-one, person-to-person, the totem of the desert, at 653 of the Lovers and the Knight of Swords. The Lyran angel to the shaman, the journey from angel to human. The dragon son of fire and Atlantis guarding the angel star, conquering their fears one step at a time. The 50 of emotional fulfillment and family and signs from spirit with love. The indigo mother who's holding space and present to her gifts, as well as with gifts. The 31 of group endeavors to transmute light and dark, as I'm losing my voice. So again, when you bring the group endeavors in, there's always someone who's not speaking up their truth. The group endeavors to transmute the light and dark, and there's 8 cards in the pile here, with at the bottom of it all is the 33 of the Christ vibration and that unity consciousness of the dimensional gateway. At the top of it all is taking action or movement, the 9 of the hermit who needs to now act. The chariots of fire and action needed, with the 26 of the Page of Wands, and that pink self-love and nurture of compassion. The life bulb womb, reaching out one-to-one and going with the flow, the 2 of Cups. That one-to-one down the salty river, where in the sunset you are held each day with blessings, synchronicities, and thanks. The 52 of the Queen of Swords with priorities, the big bird. The Page of Swords in a castle on a cloud, through the 33 dimensional gateway. The number 33 of the 4D to the Golden Gate Bridge. So the gate of the 66, which is the 2 spirals of the heart, which 66 can be GG as well, of the Golden Gate, and the energy of God, of course. And then we have the, and also Gamma was coming up, Gamma and God, and the energy going to the 99 of compassion. But the 44 of the 3D on the 33 bridge, going to the 66 Golden Gate to get to the 5D, which then is the 22, the Fool's Journey, with an open heart taking a leap of faith. And then off the 5D is the station where you can jump off to any dimension. Invited to the castle anytime you like. You can check in, but you may never leave. And it was coming up as leaf. You may never leave. At 7:06, which is the Chariot and the Lovers, the 25 of the Knight of Wands and keeping your dreams alive, as the blue baby blows a kiss through all of it, all of the chaos that's going on. The 11 of the alignment of making a decision of truth and balance, the change and expansion and clearing out the old, as the 42, the 2 of Cups, the 1-to-1, let love be your beacon, blushing orange. Aren't you glad? The 13 cards came up here with transition and the death. At the bottom of it all is the 49 of getting your wish with self-satisfaction, of heightening your vitality. At the top of it all is the 47 of the 7 of Cups, synchronicities and heaven in your eyes, of having lots of choices, and laughter with kids and avatars. The transition of the 46 soulmates to the 47 of synchronicities with laughter. The little girl pausing to touch down. I'm going down. So it's continuing in the background. The 48, and again, having to do with grounding. The 48 of walking away within. The hope and happiness, and that's also coming up as the twins. Wild and free of memories, lighting the corners of my mind. And of course, that's Barbra Streisand. And memories. The 35 of the wounded warrior and the culmination of their vision, taking a moment to see. The thirsty tree, to make deals, as the buck and the little girl come in to hand fast, to ground you, to hang out with double rainbows and 8 balloons, holding hands before she fades away to nothing. The one of making a wish, and that has to do with dimensional nothingness. The making a wish and blow as one of nature, like that you are one with nature. The 30 of the union adventure of suspended animation, frozen in time, left in suspense, hanging, neither here nor there, but everywhere on the fool's journey in a leap of faith. Tinkerbell on an invisible tightrope and invisible web below to catch you, which you know about, but nobody can see it. The 13 of the transition of the baby to renewal of peace in the nook of the tree. The 26 of the Page of Wands, be true to your heart as the siren calls. And we actually, before my son left, me, my daughter, and my son went out to do a little prayer thing by the tree in my front yard, which is the tree I always reminds me of my mother when she fell back on her back with her legs up in the air. And she's Mary, so it's Mother Mary's tree. So the 27, and it was at 7:20 to 21, the 72 of that 4 of Pentacles, and the 7 of the Chariot, the 21 of the world and completion. As the 27 is the Ace of Wands, to maintain your childlike spirit through the winter, not just in the summer when it's nice out, but to go out and perhaps go swing outside in the snow. The 27, 28, 26, 27, 28 all came out in a row, 3 in a row. The Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Twin Flames. As the Twin Flames prepare a bountiful harvest, as the 49ers, in self-satisfaction and heightening your vitality. And remember, the heighten is coming up as the HT with the ear in the middle. Remember to listen, heightening your vitality, listen, with laughter. The 1 of the Crown Games and the Crazy 8, the peaceful dance in the right use of power, that there's no need for a crown, just a second head in piggyback, the true crown that lights up, the grounder and the flyer, dancing together, the 27 of the Ace of Wands, inspired of heart, home, and compassion, the 33 of the Christ consciousness and the musical inspiration and art or paint. Cat got your tongue? Star-crossed, cross-eyed lovers, with the 36 of Atlas lost in space, and danger, Will Robinson, so someone might be robbing sun. There's no defense and lots of space needing direction here. The 61 of the Whale Song resonates, taking a risk to self-love or love self. In the deep blue sea, at 2333, the King of Wands and Fortune's Wheel, discerning their luck and right timing. Underwater arcs and underground smashers. So again, referencing the vacation homes on the water as opposed to under the water. The underwater arcs and the underground smashers of CERN, the risky portal, and the wake-up call to the feast of plenty, of choices and consequences, with 2 swords and 1 stone for the twins, 2 words and 1 tone, and a crystal light ball. At 7:33, the Chariot and the Christ energy. 16 cards were here again. With the 16, lots of tower events. At the bottom of it all is the 4 of the Cat ER pillar opportunity. And at the top of it all is the 51 of the King of Swords. At the middle of the bridge, meditating, stars in the sky with limitless possibilities. Sits, stars in the sky. The street of ours. So it's coming up as the stars, is the street or path of ours. In the sky, the Sophia KY, the energy of 0 point, the gamma rays, the father gate of 2 gates and 2 suns, in a bold step forward on Lion's Gate tomorrow, in letting the sun shine in. Let the sun shine, let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. A piece of rock has been blasted out of the cave, so there may be a rock loose, 3rd rock from the sun. The 55 of the Ace of Swords and the truth of the earth and the high vibe deep diving of the 10 and that high vibe trill and destiny. The 42 of the 1-to-1 in preparations coming to fruition as the 9 of the Hermit dances on 1 foot in their balancing act. The green moth caught the Page of Wands inspired gathering in a power of community. So here's the green moth as the hermit, and the page of wands, who's inspiring that baby energy of the new child or the new seed of something, and the sky dancers of 48 walking away within, surrendering to the dust devil of 15, moving out of stagnation, right? The energy where we're dealing with the powers that be and the man, so to speak. The 29 of the Three of Wands and the horned cactus, who, because they've been in the desert so long, they had to learn how to be more resourceful. And they're present with lots of gifts, including, things that stick you. The 5 of freedom, change and closing the door behind you, of completion with unwritten sacred contract still before you. The 7 of the chariot, but the dream thieves may be trying to put you back to sleep in transition. The Knight of Wands, 25, in the Garden of Venus, for rest and renewal may be tempting you. That's like the flying monkeys. The 64 of the woodwives, who are adaptable to stress of separation from the trunk of the tree, ending pain, the falling angel. And the 19 of falling in the sun, exposing the walking dead, in the cat ER pillar of the 4 of the emperor, unwinding the sine wave, or the King of Swords, waiting for the emperor's CAT scan, or family gatherings, perhaps, at 8:06, which is the dance of the lovers. Okay, so that was a short one for the second one. And now I have to show you the third one. All right, so this is number 3. The second one I think was around 50 minutes, and this one's at 1:02. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so same order. The left is the underlying energies, the way they organically came out, and then the pile to count at the end. So let me just pull these up a little bit. All right, so number 3. And this is from today. So this was a power-packed one as well. So today is Sunday, the 7th, the chariot, and the 21 of the world. Very powerful energy, very movement-oriented around the world, ascending around the world. Okay. And the lanternflies were coming up again, too. It was really funny because Teddy had a little dance with the lanternfly this morning. I went out back to let him out to go to the bathroom. And my daughter had a mirror outside, and the lanternfly was right smack in the middle of the mirror. And then when I went to take a picture of it, Teddy came in, of course, caught wind, and they had a little dance on the deck until I freed the fly. So, but anyway, they're coming up because, remember, the states are all warning us against them because they harm the trees. But, right, who knows better what's good for the trees, nature or man? So think about that, or feel into that, rather. At 8:49, which is the dance of sovereignty, of emotional happiness. So this one was done at 8:55 to 59 this morning. And the underlying energy was the Silver Warrior of the 22 and the Fool's Journey again. So literally the bottom of the 3 decks were the Fool, the 16 of the Tower, and then the King of Wands. So the Silver Warrior to the 42 of the 2 of Cups and Let Love Be Your Beacon, and the 15 of the Dust Devil, and the King of Wands, which can be a person, a fire sign, or it can be that mastering of your passions. So the underlying energy from the 45 of the sunset, right, and purging in the sunset to let go each day, to the creation of the abundant morning and collective awakening of the star to conquer your fears, starts yesterday, quote unquote. Purging, awakening to abundance and dreams for healing, for healing and dreams for union, the warriors of light, the sword and the stone, the word and the tone. In order to sew the quilt back together, you must first find the 2-eyed needle in the haystack. Duality of the King of Wands, and so there's balance needed here in learning to master your passions. Where Sally found the needle now and has been sewing herself back together in The Nightmare Before Christmas, while Jack is still searching. the fool with an open heart, and the man of easy passion, the easy pass connection, the 13 of transition and air and breathing and breath, ethers, and flying free and breathing free and easy, the bird in flight, 2 four-sided crystal pyramids coming together to break the sun's rays, along with the Council of 12, which is number 20, which is referencing the dodecahedron, which is 12 faces, 20 points, and 30 sides. So the 20 of the wake-up call of judgment and the Council of 12 as the cosmos mirrors you in a wake-up call. The clarion call home. And clarion, of course, is clear connection or clear channel. The direct connect. The 7 of water and the chariot. The Saint Dolphin, the vehicle of infiltration. Of water and light and crystal, that's you, for well-being. That's why you need water. It's so important for you. Remember, clair is clear, but it's also bright, light, understood, obvious, and evident. The clarion or connection call, which is clair is referencing your clairvoyance and as well, and clairaudience and all of those clairs, with indigo 21, and a decade plus 2, which is 12. A group of 10, which is the dodecahedron. The dodeca is 12, but it's coming up as 2 in a group of 10, with 2 at the helm. The twin flame 10 opus, that high vibe destiny opus. The decade rather, which also decidia means to decline, deteriorate, to fall, to go into decay or ruin, because decade is decay. The cade of decay, of the cade, is abandoned by its mother and reared by hand, to make a pet of, to coddle, to pamper, to spoil, with prickly juniper, whose wood yields a tar, a cask or barrel, to fall, crash, to die, to tumble, to fall out, the road, the street, the path, the journey, that turns out and comes to pass. So the energy of how many years have passed since certain events happened. And you may think of that with your twin or other things. And perhaps the last time you saw them and how long it's been, and is there a time period that it's supposed to be between your last connection and the new one. And then it was coming up as 2012 because it's 22, and that was 10 years ago. So I buried both my parents in that time, and the energy of May 17th, 21 was coming up when I left to go spread my mom and dad's ashes out in Oregon. So then tar comes up. TAR, of course, you know tar is tar, but it's the residual of coal. But it also comes up as Jack tar, which is also, Jack was coming up in Nightmare Before Christmas, and as a sailor. It's also a slang for heroin, a program for archiving files in Unix systems, a Persian long-necked waisted string instrument, and also a frame drum, a donkey, to be, bald, whipping sound, to come, to survive, to fly, to be quick, over and across at 936. And there's that 369 energy again of the 9 of the Hermit, the 36 of Atlas, and the weight of the world. And the plural of Tara, T-A-R-A, is also tar. And Tara is referencing as Tara as well. And then Estar, or Esther, is coming up. It's E-star, which means to be present, basically. And the Council of 12, Kuan Yin, was coming up big time today in one of the sites I went into, as well as, so Kuan Yin was coming up, of course, for compassion, but she's not just Kuan Yin as Q-U-A-N-Y-I-N, but Q-U-A-N-A-M, Kuan am, like I am. And Kuan, of course, comes up as the Kuan, right? So she's coming up for compassion. Maitreya was coming up for channeling if you want help, so to call them in if you want help with these things. And Hilarion was coming up with help to face your fears. At 9:39, which is the Hermit and the Knight of Cups, Mr. Holland's Opus was coming in. So again, your life's work. And then I love New York. But it wasn't coming up as New York. It was coming up as I, heart, capital N, capital Y. Capital N is the Christ consciousness, and the Y is the Y in the road, that gamma energy. I, heart, Christ, unity, and the gamma of 0 point. And remember that the symbol for gamma is like a backwards 7, so it's reflecting the 7. And the lowercase gamma looks like the Y in the road. So Mr. Holland's Opus was coming up as the energy of 12 and 21, because the two cards were coming up as 12 and 21, as well as the dodeca. And then the icosahedron, which is 20 faces, but plus 1. The high vibe destiny of the 10 plus 2, the 12, which is then 1 and 2, which is the masculine and feminine, and then the 10, which is a 1, plus 2, I know this is confusing. So both of them were coming up as that, right? So the 12, 21. The 12 is coming up as the 1 of the 10, because 10 reduces to a 1, and the 2 of the 2 more. 10 plus 2 is the dodeca, but it's the masculine and the feminine. The 2 at the helm with the 10, the high vibe destiny. And then the 21 was coming up as the 19 of the sun, which is a 1, and the 2 of the feminine. The 10 of destiny, or to fall, crash, turns, which is another way of saying shifts, turns out or comes to pass, spoil, easy pass of the 2. So again, the high vibe destiny of the 12, the 1 and the 2, the 10/1 and the 2 of the dodeca. It's coming up as the 2 and the deca of the 10, the decade. And the 2 plus the 1, the twin flame and the sun, 19/1 is the sun. The 10 of destiny to fall or crash and shift. Again, referencing the easy pass of being spoiled, that it's easy to do. The 2 twin flame, or the 2-eyed needle of the twin flame quantum push and pull in the sun's portal with the sun's rays. The sun's coming up as that energy of the masculine, direct and penetrating rays, and the daughter moon, who's moody and shapely. So again, referencing alchemy, where the masculine is the triangle of change and the feminine is the circle of shape. The indigo child of the tar, or to be present, of your shine, to be quick, to fly across, Tara's, earth's, roads, to touch the imperfections, the 9, the 1 and the all, the collector and the gatherer, as the 3, hunt. So you have the 12 and the 3, again coming up to the 12, the 9 of the 1 and the all, and then the 3 of being the 2 at the helm. But they have the 1 extra on the other side, because it's the 2 plus 1 of the hunt, and the 1 plus 2 of the masculine and the feminine with the gamma and pursuit of happiness. Remember, 2 and 1 aren't necessarily 3, right? Because we're talking about the masculine and the feminine of 2. But the feminine has 2. The happiness of going to meet or welcome someone. So she's like the energy of masculine and feminine more, where the masculine is more of just masculine. So it's harder for him to understand her side than it is for her to understand his. And again, it depends on how much of each you have in your own makeup. But the 3 of the hunt, in pursuit of happiness, to go meet or welcome someone, to be mindful and equal. The nailed wooden tools for making lines on wood. The energy, it was coming up as the energy of Jesus on the cross, to make arcs, right? The arched line. A line is not straight, it's arched. The Noah's Ark, the Noahs about it. So it's like making the crop circles are coming up now. It's like, so you'll have no question about it that it's from me. Surpassing the stamp, the seal, the picture, the thorn, the fence or garden, the anus, the large bird, the washboard, the weight or mass of an empty container. The desire, which is about creating, the Father, the need to sire, the father to adorn, the star and the horn being equal, the wedding gift from one family to another back to make sure it's equal, and then the grain, which is coming up as God's rain, the gamma, which is the flight path angle of deviation from the horizontal plane, the gamut, right? So the infinite possibilities and the range of those infinite possibilities is the gamma. The fantasy, the magnetic flux density. And remember, if you've ever taken jewelry, the flux is what you use to solder the two pieces together. And there's that magnetic energy, right? So the flux doesn't fall off the metal when you're soldering, which is a constant here, magnetic flux of 0.55721566, which is the 55 of the truth, the 72 of that Four of Pentacles again, the 15 of the shadow side, and the 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, but also the two spirals and the Golden Gates, which is the Euler-Mascherani constant. So the star to be S star is coming off, E star, S star is coming up with Tara, is also coming up as the star to be present to their own light. The gamma ray proton is the quantum of light and other electromagnetic energy regarded as a discrete particle having zero rest mass. No electrical charge, the resting mass. Zero electrical charge and indefinitely long life. The gauge boson is also coming up, which carries fundamental forces of nature. Right? Something that you say is empty, but it's not actually empty because the basic energy of life force is always there. The post office, the fan, the boat swain came in, which is a petty officer, the boat boy, the one in charge of the sails, the anchors, the cables, etc. A gull or gullible, right? The one somebody else can get them to do all that stuff, right? Because it's the harder jobs to do. The indigo child, and I keep getting my great-grandfather David Lubin, because one of the stories in his book is about him growing up as a boy. And he ran away from home because his parents couldn't get him a violin, so he was mad. And he was going to go be a ship's hand on a ship. And he got a job with the captain, and they were about to sail, and thank goodness they found him in time, because the cabin boy who did go with this captain was killed by him on the cruise that they went on. So, talk about destiny, right? There's always some kind of interruption if it's not meant to happen. The indigo child, the star, E star, a star to be present to their shine, the capital E of the one with three lines across, one equal and congruent to the star, Esther, and Sophia, the sailor, with a string instrument or drum, that she is the string instrument or drum, right? She's got strings to pull and drums to beat. To be, and the donkey, and Quixote was coming up here as well. Romantic ideal of the donkey, of Don Quixote, and the OT of overtime, the pig, the grass or marijuana, and the fire within, the eight of the dance, of the house, the hut, the high, the just, and the bribe, right? It's like the bribe to get you to do something that you want them to do. The dawn is something you love, appear, adorn. So adorn came up again. Frosty, ice-covered, black ice. You cannot see, like black ice, you can't see, but it's very dangerous. To enter deep, leaf, or donning a high, right? Like like a mafia boss, right? They're getting a high by doing what they're doing. The gift, the talent, a knack for something. A donation, misfortune, father, leader. To complete, create, position, platform. To raise and finish. The fat cat, to treat someone. But right, if it's a mafia guy treating you, do you really want to take that treat, that gift, because you may owe them, right? So giving stupidly or being spoiled, a tool, a means, underpants, a cape, frost, a kind of bread or drink comes up here as well. The dangerous spoils of the key number 8, the dance of power and abundance, right? Don's key of the donkey, Don's key is to bribe, to call in a favor one day, or in other words, the ass working overtime. The indigo is whole and complete, a star, with 10 shifts, the decade of their destiny, and the spoils, which are the decay, makes things come to pass. Easy pass, the spoils. The indigo of in, die, go, into mastering the mysteries. Sophia's Jack, the sailor, the boat boy. So now is coming up the Titanic at 10:28, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Wands of the 28, the twin flames. Sophia's Jack, the sailor, the boat boy, who's quick to jump over the candlestick and not get burned. I love New York is coming up again. Right? I heart the Christ unity consciousness at that 0 point energy, reflecting the 7 of the Chariot, the feminine within the masculine, ascending. So Gamma was also coming up. The 55 is the truth with the 72 of the Four of Pentacles, the 15 is the devil, and the 66 is the Queen of Pentacles. So it was literally coming up as holding on to the devil and Mrs. Jones. Or in other words, deviating from the norm, right? The flat earth kind of perspective. And the Holland Tunnel was coming up there too for the I Love New York with Mr. Holland's opus. And again, the bridge, there's not only bridges above water, but bridges underneath the ground as well. So at 10:30, at the bottom of it all, with that high vibration and the union, the bottom of it all is the 32 of the journey and the tree of life. And at the top of it all here was the 43 of the Three of Cups and pausing to receive. The union home of the King of Wands, transitioning in a wake-up call as the vehicle, the feminine within the masculine and the Chariot ascending. That the world is the vehicle. It is the planet or star that you see in the sky. You're already on one. And then I stopped to do the magnet overhead right there, and I got a message. So the message with what I was seeing was, I was seeing like fake eyelashes, like really long eyelashes. And then all of a sudden it started turning. It flipped over like the wind things that you see with the illusion of the flowering that flips inside itself. That energy is coming up like another row of lashes came in and they folded in together, you know, like a printing press would. And I saw the long eyelashes turn over like the windmill and interwoven into another set, like the flow and printing press, folded in together, and then they both flowed together down. I'm going down, 'cause you're not around. So they flowed down again to the bottom of the sea, and they became two dolphin birds. So there was like bird-like features in these two dolphins swimming down together to crack open the nest egg. And then I was getting pecking on nest and the pecking order at 10:38, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Cups, and that high vibe of the Mary Magdalene. The 43 of coming together and healing the crown, with the Page of Wands 26 in the pink womb, the 53 of the Knight of Swords, who's the key to freedom, and the F stop on the ring of the lens, the pit stops on your journey to stop and see clearly. Well, I smell the roses, but I'm also getting, I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. So the 27 of the Ace of Wands, that's inspiring, but with that coolness, right, tempering the flame, because the Ice Queen's here, right, she's tempering the flame and Spirit's connecting with me. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior, Kundalini to rise, and the 18 of Mother Earth's daughter, who's cold and icy for grounding support. The 2 of the High Priestess and time out in the purple moon. Of the 46 of the Inner Children, the key to you is the upside down tear. I'm going down, 'cause you're not around. My whole world upside down. So the 36 of the Atlas energy of the inner child, calling out to you to hear and know me. The 44 of the grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love as the beacon shines on and lights up the electromagnetic grid of the double diamonds, the twin flames pushing and pulling to untie the karmic knots in the grid. I was getting in the grand scheme of things, in the grid. The waking to the family at sunrise with the 49 for self-satisfaction to get your wish, where where the Father warms the grounds, right? With the sun below the horizon, the Father is warming the grounds before they're fully above the horizon line. The horizon is the whore of Mary Magdalene, and the eyes on borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind. So Madonna, keep on pushing my love over the borderline. At 10:45, which is that high vibe, purging. Madonna blue is the next card. So they all came right out after the message came up. So it was just really in line today. The Madonna blue of the 29 being present with their gifts, and serious alignment tomorrow, holding space for the sun to shine through and transform, alchemize the light and the dark, receiving light to shadow backpack of chaos of the light and control of the dark. So get smart, like the King of Swords 51 of diamond light, purity and innocence, waking to the clarion call of alignment on 8-8. So again, there's that reference of purity of Maxwell Smart, and 99 with compassion for him, right? His innocent ways of childlike ways that, she kind of had to mother him. The 8-8 of the Lion's Gate, listen and take note. The Madonna's Gate, so this is the next card then, the lioness in her den. The 10 of that high vibe new dawning of the age of Aquarius. Traversing, which is the verse coming up again, music, and travolting. So of course that's a reference to John Travolta. But I have to tell you, my mother knew his mother. She was a student of his mother's, and she was a music teacher. I think she was a music teacher. But this is coming up in reference to this, because the traversing is the verse of music, and the travolting of that blast of energy. The verse and the chorus. The vault. And then the two, I was getting that, I drew the lines of of Jesus on the cross, and the nails being drawn in a circle. The crop circle, so it's just one circle inside another one, but a good shoulder's length of a horse between. Traversing and travolting, the verse and the chorus. The vault in a circular tread, where the horse sideways, like a horse moving sideways around in a circle, makes two concentric tracks, or sudden movement to avoid a thrust. And I was also getting sidetracked here. So then they were leading me to the site hsmagnets.com just for the definitions of the measurements of electric and magnetic. So of course electric is volts, currents, resistance, and power of E, I, R, and P, where E equals IR, which is Ohm's law equation, OHM, where E is, again, I'm translating it in my definitions, that capital E is the one, equal, and congruent to IR, which I worked in interventional radiology for 25 years, so it's funny that's coming up. And then P equals IE. And then the magnetic energies have to do with force, which is the push, the field flux, which is the electric, like the electric current, the field intensity, which is the 1 and 2 with the magnetic force, and then the flux density, and then the reluctance, which is the reluctance or opposing to space or other mass, and the permeability, which is the acceptance of the magnetic flux. So again, the resistance and acceptance, again, is coming up here of the polarities. The field force equals the amp or shift, turn, and the amps, the measurements come up in amps, Gauss, and Tesla, the G and T. There's the G and T references as well, the capital letters. The field flux is symbolized with the phi energy, the circle, the oval with the line down the middle, the density with the B, the field intensity with the H, and the reluctance with the curved R, capital R, and the permeability as the universal unit, U. And then the line, which is the arc. So Ohm's law, like I said, is E equals IR, and then P equals IE in the electric coding. And PIER was coming up as a word to remember those letters, P-I-E-R, which is coming up in the card for endings each day in the sunset, because it's on a pier. So purging on the pier with electric energy, and then the magnetic of the mountain, which is BHR, the universal U, and then the Phi energy, which for me, I use F for Phi as well. So I was trying to see if there was a word with those letters, but I couldn't find something with all the letters. B was always being left out, which is, B looks like 13, which is transition and the transformation. But it was coming up as the energy of Ru came up, RHU, which is radioisotope heater unit. And then rhubarb was coming up, which also means theater or nonsense, excited, angry, brawl, nonsense, mumbling, right? Fighter, aircraft. The barbarian energy was coming up under there for magnetic. And, it's kind of like very mountainous, right? You don't move me, you come to me. And then FUHR is coming up as well as FURH without the B, which is to dig, accelerate, or sail, and then adding the B of the 13, which is then transition of that, of the dark night. The Mother and the King of Swords align with a wake-up call to communicate freedom rings and change with expansion as the Magician, who's coming up as the B, which is the Carpenter bee, JC, and pollinates with magic for joy and happiness. Again, hope and happiness. The message in a bottle from Don Quixote and JC, the sun, to the 38 of the Queen of Cups and Mary Magdalene. The activated light body that she has dancing on 8-8 with flame in hand, ring with 3 keys in the other, answering the call from dark to light, the journey of the tree of life, from orange to gold, which is the orangutan energy of the forest or veggie man, and the gold of God being old. He's the ancient one, or she is the ancient one. And then I broke right there for breakfast, so I'm supposed to bring up the breaking, because hand fasting was coming up too. So the break fast is coming up here. The underlying energy at 1141 is the alignment of justice and the Ace of Cups. The 3 of abundance and the Empress of celebrating your differences, of the mother and daughter specifically here, with the unicorn and the dolphin. The 32 of the journey of trusting your own understanding and your view of the world, because it may be completely different than others. And the 50 of the 10 of Cups of emotional fulfillment, the potential gateway of the tree of happiness. I'm getting the Happiness Hotel again from the Muppets. The 42 of the 2 of Cups, let love be your beacon, and orange up, so it's that energy of blushing. The 1-to-1 with the 25, Knight of Wands, which is who's a reason to blush about, is inspiring. This is the blue baby coming in from the ethers, blowing you a kiss to keep your dreams alive. The 40 of the Page of Cups, to show your support to the little ones, inspired by a little boy on the other side perhaps, who's blowing you a kiss. And a lot of different names are coming up, including Jack. But 1146 is the alignment of truth and balance, of the 46 of the twins, the inner children, and the outer children loving each other. The 1-to-1 of the Knight of Wands and the Page of Cups, right? The Knight of Wands with the slow burn, and the Page of Cups with innocent love, who may need a little bit of mothering. The 36 of the Atlas energy and the Intuit connection at the top of the world, the North Pole. The top of the world and the top of your head. The top of the Datia with the brain. So there's some Irish energy coming in there as well. So again, the northern lights of going up there, perhaps, Iceland, Greenland, and then the brain on fire, and the thinking cap was coming up, working hard to stay high vibe and open your heart to the swan reflection. So again, the swan cross is coming up, reflecting the Southern Cross. After a decade since 2012, what were you doing back then? So think about what you're doing 10 years ago at 2012. And then the 16 cards came up again. At the bottom of the 16 cards was the 19 of shifting your energy in the sun. And at the top of it all, the top of the day, is the 45 of empowerment and purging it out. Finding peace through the rough waters and seeing how far you've come in the eclipse of the sun. I'm getting the second sun, but I'm also getting again, third rock from the sun. And now transitioning with 13 to the renewal of peace, the baby in the wedge of the tree, as all the animals come to see, just like Jesus in the manger, right? Or like Snow White. And the years 2003 to 4 are also coming up as a significant timeline. And I was thinking back, because that was big for me too. I was thinking about my friend and her timelines, but they were coinciding with my timelines, because 2004 is when my dad retired and he finally moved out with my mom to Oregon. And 2004 is also when I ended my long-term relationship and went into another long-term relationship. So think about what you were doing in 2004, but also 2012 is coming up. And then Lionsgate 8/8 is coming up as number 16, and sudden events of 16 candles. So 10 years, 18 years, 16, and 8/8 are coming up. So 8/8 is coming up as the 16, the sudden event, as well as 18 years and 10 years ago. So 8/8 and the 16 of 8 plus 8, and the candles, a sudden blast in Venetian waters of the river Borealis, deep in beautiful waters with candles lit. The 44 of seeking beauty within, as the buck seeks your attention. So they're seeking beauty within and they're seeing you. With 10 to 11 candles plus 7 candles is 17 to 18 here of the star and the moon. The 23 of the King of Wands, to know you are worth it, to have the vision you seek as your ship comes in to the beach. She is sitting under the tree with her candles lit, or 7 solar lights. The 22 of the Fool's leap of faith, and Faith Hill was coming up here, making fairy magic. The 27 of the Ace of Wands, inspired to maintain your childlike spirit as the twin flames make preparations for the bountiful harvest. And harvest is usually associated with the fall. And this was at 12:08. So again, this is going from 2012 to the dance of 8 of the Lionsgate. And then Faith Hill came up. So Faith Hill came up in my read. I didn't know anything about what was going on with her. And so, of course, I looked it up. And it was her anniversary 3 days ago. So they were talking about their union. So the number 2 at 12:08 is the illumination of the butterflies. And the butter represents the Mary Magdalene energy of the buttercup, and the flyer and the grounder. The indigo illumination of butterflies and indigo help as the 16 of sudden inner truths, and the 1 of making a wish for magic to come true, and the 30 of the union adventure through the conch shell horn, which bridges the gap, the suspension bridge, right? The suspended animation came up before with the Knight of Cups in clear endeavor, the clarion call to the winter wonderland. And that was coming up with the Greeks and the Russian, like the Russian ice princess, but the Greeks. But then I was getting the geeks as well, right? Which are the really rich people. The geeks or Greeks and the Russian ice princess, or Venetian algae. So there's something about the algae in the Venetian water, like I said before, is the same principle as adrenochrome and as the olive trees that grow in Morocco and the pine trees that grow in northern Canada, right? If they grow in places that they shouldn't ordinarily grow, because it's a really struggle for them to grow there, they become very powerful, which is the point about the twin flames. But there's some kind of algae in the Venetian waters. I said there was something that was going to come out of the Venetian waters, and I might actually have brought up algae before too. But that's going to be very powerful. And then Jesus was coming up. You want to come over? With the Hermit number 9 and the perfect setting, from mountain to mountain, or mountain time, as the sun breaks through to a whole new world. So this is when I went out to do the little prayer with my daughter and my son out by the tree in the front at 12:21. So there's the reference to 12:21 again, with Teddy at the door watching us. So he was in the prayer too. And then we have the 37 of the King of Cups and unconditional love and the ideal course of action. The 41 of self-love, spiritual love, and new love, of the Holy Grail, of being in service with self-love, spiritual love, and new love. And the octopus teacher here with the little one, the seahorse, and feeding them algae perhaps, which was funny too, because I don't usually feed the dog. And I actually gave them some of my eggs this morning. the lady in a shell, Cancer perhaps, or a headdress, red dress, or red drum, ho hum, and whistling while you work. And Jack is coming up again, and Jack and Jack and Jack. So Jack actually came up as wanting to do the part of Jack in The Nightmare Before Christmas. So Jack Nicholson's coming up here, as well as Jack from Titanic and Jack and the Beanstalk and all the other Jacks. But also Whistle While You Work. So now we have the 7 dwarfs. The 19 of the sun and shifting your energy to the sun. From under the sea with the little ones to above the land on the mother ship, Noah's Ark. Just as the sphere of the planet is a ship, so are you, with lots of passengers on board. Come fly with me. So Pan Am was coming in because Kuan Yin is coming in again. And catch me if you can. Kuan Am, Pan Am. Kuan Am, I am the gingerbread man. Give me the Quan, Jerry. Ground control to Major Tom, as Tom and Jerry are one in the same, with serious daughter and serious connection. At 12:33 is the hanging man and the Christ vibration. So there's Christ hanging on the cross there for you. The underlying energy of the dust devil after the number 3 of abundant empress of earth, Terra Gaia, and the benefactor of grace and generosity, the golden gate, the 66 of the heart spiral, and the portal of the Christ unity consciousness. The GR of grace and generosity, and GE, which is Tony the tiger, and energy. Will and grace in the mushroom, watching the show, having a ball with Lucy in the sky with diamonds, which Lucy in the sky with diamonds comes up as just the right angle of the L. You see the gamma waves in the sky, which is Sophia's KY energy vortex, powering up the double diamonds, the 2 almonds, the eyes in the sky. Ammonium or Amun comes up as the Egyptian creator wind deity associated with Thebes post 16th century BCE. And Lu sees in Sophia's KY with his 2 own eyes, with 2 worlds of the 58 of the 4 of swords and the 5D connection, the vanishing mirror and ego sublimation, aligning with justice, truth, balance, and reaching out in the dark for alignment. Trusting without proof in meditation of the shadow, dust, kicking up to move out of stagnation, or in other words, the world of men. As the mother and father enjoy their own particle smashing, the natural way, with some whoop-ass and clearinghouse. And this was coming up as the masculine doing the meditating right now and beginning to trust without needing to see proof, and also coming up as mother-father saying their natural way of doing CERN is with the arcs that are at the bottom of the sea, but they're also under the desert in the Ukraine. So there was a reference to that. At 12:44 is the hanging man and the 44 of the 3D and the lap dance of discerning, clearing the dust from the wailing tree of the inner war, of reconciling differences. The 29 of being present to your gifts, and the horned cactus, who's dry and yet resourceful, a bit prickly pear at times. The 53 of the Knight of Swords stranger, who's very curious to dive in to the water that the feminine's been dealing with all this time, sealed with a kiss. Where then I looked up Faith to see what's going on with Faith Hill, and her and Tim were together 25 years, 3 days ago, I think was the 4th, which the 25 is the Knight of Wands, all through this read, on 8/4, as the daughter Audrey shows off her musical talents. She was married to Daniel Hill, which is why her name is Hill. From 1988, Lionsgate, right, 88, to 94, they were married 16 years. So giving little props to him as well, because she has her fame with his name. The 37 of the King of Cups and the Magician's Sword, of Quick Draw McGraw, with confidence in his magic. The 42 of the 42, howdy doo-dah. The 42 of the one-to-one netcaster preparations that are now coming to fruition, with the 9 of the Hermit, and that's referencing September as well, and the green moth in a balancing act. The mountain pose. They may not dance with wolves, but they do dance on one foot. And foot's coming up as the F, as the reflecting the double O's of the googly eyes, and the T in a timeout. As in energetic exchange, the king of the mountain, the lay of the land, with the ancestral wisdom of the crop circles down below, and she on her tippy toes, becoming one with earth as the horseman heralds in the change of union, the 1254 of the hanging man and the page of swords, and rushing or Russian in to sweep them off their feet as Jack the Dark Knight approaches, pegged as us, or US, but using discernment as the King of Wands with Fortune's wheel and luck and right timing on their side. The 18 of the eyes of the eagle rising as the oracle and the beak. The 18 to the 23, which is the cusp of the moon and lust, as romance is on the menu. 45 is that energy of the purge and repairing the veil with forgiveness, tying the pages back together, whether that be a reference to the book or the little innocent ones, tying them back together as I lose my voice. Don Quixote comes up here in the core setting, the binding articulation, the Man of La Mancha, which was 1972. 72 comes up again, and King of the Hill, with Sophia, James, Harry, and Peter too. The director then came up in a leap of faith from a school who hired Mr. Boyd as a full-time guitar player for Man of La Mancha when they were doing it, and was coming up on the hill, Ojai Valley School. The inner shadow war of the tree that became the cactus and had to learn to be resourceful and present to their gifts. The Knight of Swords and the King of Cups paired up to Hermit in energetic exchange of the union with the King of Wands in a romantic, heartfelt story, right? Mastering their passions. At 110 of the Magician and the 10 of Destiny, repairing of the veil. And here the pair is coming up again, to know a veil. And the message of the truth of Tim McGraw, 1-1. The 23 cards comes up here again of the King of Wands, mastering your passions in the Easy Path connection, where Faith Hill Union was mastering their passions, and Eagle Eye in working together page to page. So again, it's taking their talents and, making that it fit together. The bottom of it all was the galactic mushroom of the 24 of the Queen of Wands, and at the top of it all is the Dream Thief, the 13 of Transition, who wants to try to get you to go back to sleep. The transitional monkey, right, of those flying monkeys of the Wicked Witch, refusing the call, right, of those who don't want to wake up. And the drifter of 14, which is that patient angel experiencing life as it comes. And the 13 of 14 were being referenced here together as well. There's a meaning behind that. And it may be personal for you. The 13 of transition, the 14 of that higher love, the dark knight and the angel, the dream thief and the drifter, the 19 of the sun and the falling angel, falling to sleep while the other is drifting. The 14th is passing the flying monkeys, and by the 19th, they're falling over the fall, the waterfall, into the spirit of the river, moving to abundance and adventure, the 50 of fulfillment, and the 21 of completion, in order to take their first breath, listening to each world, each planet, to see what it says, in unmarked travel or territory here, and the separation of the maze and the pressure of being in separation, and closing the doors at 117, the magician and the star, and then I was cuddling with my son before he left. The 136 is the magician and the atlas of the weight of the world. After separation, the green pressure cooker, closing the door behind, in change, the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus for rest and renewal, with the Knight of Wands in feast of plenty and their consequences, in a wake-up call after having lost their way. With 1111 coming up here, back to integrity, as the meteor strikes 12, The wounded warrior with the Page of Swords 54 message, crossing half of the tree trunk bridge over into their initiation. The initiate connection of the 64, which is the 10 of Swords. So it's the ending of pain and going into the bliss. The woodwives' bliss, because they're flexible and adaptable. And the 38 of the Queen of Cups, who's a multitasker or masker. The 22 of the Fool's Embrace in transmuting their pain in Cannonball Run. Aren't you glad? The 28 of the Twin Flames, humbling themselves into child's pose. The Totem Watchers finding peace in a drive-in theater in the desert called life. The 43 of coming together for good and plenty. The Taj Mahal, as the 52 Queen of Swords straddles both worlds, wandering between realms, and the 17 of the Star in healing and dreams coming true, and the Eye of the Needle, the acute intention of making dreams come true. The 1 of the Magician's tidy house with clarity and organization. I was just getting organ donation as well. The clearinghouse of the 33 Christ unity consciousness, the unity and joy of the child, the music, the muse of the inner child, and being creative cat for lover in cosmic womb, the divine feminine, with the Queen of Wands galactic mushroom, the passion. So whereas the King of Wands is coming up as their mastering of passions, here the Queen of Wands is coming up as the more romantic side of that, the galactic mushroom, the not the I'm just blanking out on the word, not the aggression of the masculine, but the sensuality of the feminine. So the King of Wands is coming up as the aggressive action of coming together in romance, where the feminine is the other, right? It's more of that soft energy of coming together, of mastering passions. In the divine matrix, where the nut doesn't fall far from the tree, perhaps just one dimension over, one diamond connection, perhaps working on getting 2 diamonds. At 151, the Magician and the King of Swords. So I am going to start a new video for the one on the table, just so it's not so long, because we're almost at 2 hours here already. Bye.